No, we move. All right, while I'm waiting for the slides to be pulled up, let me tell you something about myself. I'm actually not from here. You know, the outfit might not tell you that. But I'm actually an immigrant from Germany. I've lived in Cape Town for a bit more than 2 years now, which is why this is one of my favorite conferences to go to, because I live 20 minutes down the road. And I can quickly visit my family when things get tough at home. Don't have to take another plane. Adopting Bitcoin is also about adopting hash rate, right? That's what I do with my company. I help people adopt hash rate. I help people understand hash rate. A lot of people stumble across mining and are very intimidated by it because it's, you know, one of the more complicated subjects within the Bitcoin industry. So first and foremost, let me ask, who here has been interested in mining and has considered buying a miner or owning some hash rate at some point? Okay, wow, quite a few hands. How many people have actually followed through? Right, quite a few. Okay, cool. So Proof of Prudence is what I called my latest blog article series, which this is based on. I developed this because a lot of people ask me the same questions over and over, and I thought I would just sort of preemptively, proactively move this forward and educate some folks. Prudence is the practice of making careful, well thought out decisions to manage risk and achieve sustainable success. I agree with ChatGPT there, that's why I put it on the slide. We already went through that. A couple people already own hash rate. So when it comes to this, mining on the surface is very, very simple, right? But there's so many details, and especially in sort of the retail mining sector, which is probably where most of you guys will find yourselves. There's a lot of details that at the end of the day, summarized, make a big difference on the margins, right? So most of these guidelines are aimed at the retail investor who wants to own 1, 5, 10 machines, which is for most already a very substantial amount of money. But this is also for those who maybe want to use their stranded solar, or who are invested in solar. Many people come to me and say, we got 5 megawatts of stranded solar in the Northern Cape. Eskom is not giving us an option to monetize that anyway. So now we have to look at mining. But starting that from the ground up and making well thought out decisions is very difficult. So I'm going to run through these. Number one, don't overpay for your ASIC. A lot of companies will sell you the ASICs at huge margins because they have to. Negotiate your prices, ask for shipment tracking, right? That's very important. Resale value. If you want to, at the end of the day, make more Bitcoin through mining than you could have bought today, it's very important that you're able to resell your machines, right? If you have 1, 5 machines, that can be very difficult to do, depending on the jurisdiction you are in. You should also choose your ASIC based on that fact, right? Most hosting contracts, they run for 2 years. You don't want to buy a machine that's old today, which you can then not sell in the future at any point because nobody wants it anymore. Point number 3. Mining is absolutely not passive income. Okay, you gotta sit, you gotta evaluate. The industry moves, the network grows every day, and there's new firmware updates, new pools coming out all the time, and you gotta stay up to date with what's happening to stay ahead of the competition. Again, it's all about the margins. You have to value your education also, right? Your education is a subjective value. It teaches you a lot about energy, a lot about hash rate, a lot about how Bitcoin works. And so owning a machine can have similar effects to owning Bitcoin, right? Once you own Bitcoin, your learning curve goes steeply upwards because now you're incentivized to understand what the hell you're actually owning. And the same happens with Bitcoin mining. You sign your hosting contracts first, not after buying the machine. And very importantly, one of the more important factors I talk to my clients about is you have to compare risk and the cost, right? Because everybody looks at the cheapest price of electricity, but doesn't consider risk when it comes to choosing your jurisdiction, right? There's a lot of people who pay what I find to be way too much for hosting in Paraguay when they could host for a slight bit more in Texas and have substantially lower risk. That's what I'm trying to say here. And this is also about resale liquidity. right? If you want to sell your machine in Ethiopia, that's a lot harder than selling your machine in the US. References and uptime data. Ask your hostess for data on their service, right? Make sure that they're delivering top-class quality so that you're not surprised at the end of the day. Ask for foreman access or any other mining software access so that you get as close to your machine as possible, right? This is, again, one of the more important factors. You can see a screenshot of my live dashboard that I can access now via my phone to see how my miner is doing. And this is important for 5 reasons. First, real-time performance monitoring. You can log in anytime and see how your machine is doing. You can change the pool yourself, which we will get to. With most hosters that I've experienced, that is a complication and not possible. This is also a check on the hosting provider, right? So anybody that sells you a machine now is incentivized to deliver good performance because they understand my customer can see how I'm performing at the data center, right? So this is important for that reason. It boosts your education because, again, you see so much data about your machine. You can ask a lot more questions and you're aware of a lot more things that your machine is doing, and that's important to consider. And yeah, the last but not least, it gets you as close to your ASIC as possible without it roaring in your ear in your bedroom. Precision billing, also super important, right? Demand precision billing. These machines don't consume what is said on the website. Most of them will consume less or more. If they consume less and you pay for what's on paper, you are overpaying. And if the machine consumes more, yes, then you're also paying more monthly. However, most of the time you're then also able to overclock the machine when margins are nice and juicy. So that's another thing to look out for. Point number 9, affordable repairs. These machines do break, right? This is not passive income, sit back and relax. You got to monitor these machines, make sure they run smoothly. And if something goes wrong, you need to make sure there's repair policies in place that are fair or that you agree to. And the pricing of those beforehand. For instance, how much does it cost to repair a hashboard and so on and so forth. And also consider downtime and cost, right? So when you buy a new machine, a new Bitmain machine, for example, it comes with a warranty, right? If that's now hosted somewhere and it breaks, you have 2 options. You can either let the hoster repair it for you at a cost, or you can now tell the hoster, hey, ship it to the repair facility, have it repaired, and then send it back. All of which is cost and downtime. And you have to make sure that you weigh up what is more profitable in that moment, because again, that makes a small difference, which at the end of the day makes a big difference combined with all the other options. You choose the right pool for yourself. If you can, make sure you can choose it. Make sure you understand what features you need. Right? Are you a novice? Are you a beginner? Do you need to understand all the data that comes into the pool? Do you need a fancy dashboard? Maybe you bought the miner with somebody else and you want to split the payouts automatically. You want to have a watcher link. All of those things are premium features that you're paying a fee for. Or you go with something like Wilson Pool, which is a very bare bones HTML page, which does exactly the same thing. But with one machine, you have to pay the fee of 0.38%, which is something that most miners in the megawatt scale only have access to. Also, liquidity requirements. Do you need payouts every day? Do you have bills to pay or not? Right? Depending on that question, you can choose an FPPS or a different payout scheme. And that's also another thing to consider. So, to summarize, there's 10 guidelines. Don't overpay for your ASIC. Compare prices, resell value of the machine, right? Be able to resell the machine down the line. Consider DCA and education. Sign your contract first, not after the fact. This seems like a really silly one, but so many people come to me and say, hey, you know, I bought a machine, but the hoster doesn't have space. I'm like, how is that even a possible scenario? Because, you know, that doesn't make any sense at all. Cost and risk. Not just price. Don't look for the cheapest price on the planet with your one machine. Right? Make sure the thing is in a low risk environment as well, even if you're paying a bit more. And then we got references, talked about foreman access or replace Foreman with any other mining software or mining monitoring software. Precision billing, repairs, and making sure your pool setup is all right. Be careful, Bitcoin mining is very addictive, right? Most people don't leave it at one machine. Oh, they would want to buy another machine, see how that performs, compare pools, and it gets quickly very addictive. I speak from experience. And yeah, thank you for my attention. I'm way below time, but I know we're behind schedule, so I'm going to finish it here. If you want to speak about mining, if you want to learn more, if you have stranded solar assets, stranded wind or whatever assets in South Africa, let me know. I'm always happy to speak about it. I'm based here in Cape Town, so we can go for coffee or whatever and chat about it, which is always nice. Yeah, HashrateUp is my company. You can connect with me here. And I'll leave it at that.